fuck you, Rich. We're here now. We're here with you. And you don't even want to be with us. You want to be out there. How present are you with us? You could bring your magic here right now, but you're not even bringing that because all you want to be is over there. I want to start with a couple of questions I've got to give some context for today. This is a question from Svi. Svi said, Rich, you've read a lot of books. You've been coached by some extraordinary coaches. You've learned a lot. You've trained and coached a lot of very successful people. You've probably done a lot more than most people are aware. What are the top one or two things that have contributed to your success the most? A great question. And the answer is one thing. I never stop learning. I did the math recently. I've invested over $1 million in my personal growth and professional development over the last 20 years. Traveled all over the globe to learn from fascinating people and never stop. I did the math this morning, over 100 grand in the last 12 months I have invested in my own personal growth and professional development. Never stop learning is my answer to that question. Huge amount of time, energy, money, commitment, focus into my own growth. So when someone's investing $185,000 to work with me, it's like that story about Picasso. Picasso's sitting in a cafe and a woman comes up, she sees him doodling on a napkin. She says, that's beautiful. Would you do one of those for me? And he says, madam, that'd be my pleasure. And he draws a little doodle for her and she goes to take it. He says, madam, that'll be $10,000. She says, Picasso, that took 20 seconds. He says, no, that took me my entire life. For those of you who are newer to coaching, this is a reminder that most of you didn't leave high school and become a coach. You had a career behind you, whatever that was. That's the background to what you do now. The line I use on my podcast is for most of human history, it wasn't called coaching, it was called leadership. And you've all been leaders in different ways. Let me tell you a story. It was 2008, and I'm helping in a group coaching program. We were coaching men around relationships. I figured I'd messed up enough of them in the early days that I could help guys not mess up. And I joined this group coaching program. It was an amazing group community. And I was being trained in these coaching skills. And we did a very unique process. We'd have 10 people in the room and at least 10 coaches. So you'd always have 3 to 6 coaches working with you at any one time. It was powerful. And I was being trained, which meant at times during the day, I would go outside to the back alley with our support team and I'd coach them. And one day I said to this team, we were talking about what our frustrations were. And I said to them very honestly in the moment, I said, well, my frustration is I'm out here in the alley doing the coaching out here. Well, I want to be coaching in the room. And someone looked me in the eyes and said, fuck you, Rich. We're here now. We're here with you. And you don't even want to be with us. You want to be out there. How present are you with us? You could bring your magic here right now, but you're not even bringing that because all you want to be is over there. And I remember it to this day because it still cuts. It still burns. I'm still embarrassed. I've always been ambitious. How many of you know that you're ambitious? You always want something more, something bigger, something new, something next. And where's your ambition taking you away from this present moment right now? And I don't mean this with us, but I mean, where are you not playing full out in this moment because you're always looking into the horizon? It's part of the gift of being a visionary. It's part of the gift of being a leader. We're always looking to the future. It's also the very same thing that holds you back. In 2008, I started working with a man who became my mentor, eventually my friend. Eventually we wrote a book together, Steve Chandler. Steve's retired now, but he used to run a coaching school. It was about 10 grand for a year. And if you've read the Prosperous Coach, you know this story. I haven't told it for a while, but I wrote to him and said, I just saw your article, Steve, about making bold requests. So I'm going to make a bold request of you. Let me in your program. I can't afford to do it right now. I haven't got 10 grand. If you let me in it, I'll pay you double at the end. I was really proud of myself. And he said, no. He said, I want the rich who can make the money first. And I was so pissed off with him. Really hated him in that moment. Like, dude, do you not understand? I'm offering you double. Best thing that ever happened to me. Because I went away and I did what it took. And I saved until I eventually had the money to pay him that 10 grand. And I went and learned with him in that course for 9 months. And things began to shift. I began to charge higher fees, began to enroll people in a group coaching program, began to become more successful. And then I did it again. I signed up again the next year. And the third year came along and people said to me, why are you doing it a third time in a row? You could teach this stuff. Because I was on the faculty of a couple of coaching schools at that time. But I knew at 10 grand, I needed one insight, one idea, one new client as a result of Steve's coaching. I've made more than my investment. I ended up doing that 4 times and hiring Steve as my coach. Everything began to shift when I saw the power of investing. I was talking to a friend yesterday about investments, and he was asking, where do I invest? And I said, I've got to be honest, over the last 20 years, most of my investment has been back into my business because it pays dividends. And I have seen friends who've invested in the stock market and all sorts of things, from crypto to you name it. And I've made far more because I invest here. That's not investment advice, but it's what I've found has been really powerful for me. Hey, thanks for listening. Before you go, I've got over a decade's worth of tools and ideas to help you drastically increase your income and your impact as a coach over at richlitvin.com. And hit the subscribe button, because when you do, you'll automatically get notified every time I release a new podcast episode. See you next time.